Alright, hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the channel. We'll have Scooby in the corner there. Someone commented last video that they liked my Scooby, so yeah. We'll have him in the corner over there. The story behind Scooby actually is my family and I went to Palace Playland. It's an old orchard beach, and massive Scooby-Doo fan. I don't know if you guys can see it. I think you guys kind of can over here. Scooby-Doo Funko Pops. The whole bottom two shelves are like Scooby-Doo movies, the DVDs, all that fun shit. So, massive Scooby-Doo buff. But yeah, so with this one, he was one for me by my papa. And funny thing is that once we won him, like we started winning so many other things. It was not even funny. But yeah, so my papa won him for me. He just hangs out in my room. I think he scared the shit out of my friends at one point, because I'm used to him being there. And I think one of my friends spent the night, and I think I slept in my mom's room. He slept in here, and it basically just scared the shit out of him because he just saw the shadow, didn't know what it was. Kind of funny. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Scooby-Doo. We're here to talk about Dime Store Magic. Anyways, as per usual, off the cuff. No semblance order whatsoever, except plot, what I thought of the book, good and bad, shining moments, I guess, characters, and overall thoughts on the book. So yeah, let's just get right into it. If you guys are new, hit follow. I'll do my whole. There is a bug in here, so if you see me swat, it's a bug. But yeah, my whole spiel. Stupid gnat. Anyway, yeah, my spiel, my Twitch spiel, feel like it was hit follow. Like I said, I'm gonna be reviewing more books of these, and have a bunch of manga back there too. So if you want me to review those, let me know. Actually, I think I have a few one-off books I can review, but I digress. So let's get into it. So this is Dime Store Magic by Kelley Armstrong. This is the third book in her 13-book series, The Women of the Other World. What's different about this one from Stolen and Bitten is this is written in the perspective of Paige Winterbourne. We met her in the last book. She was the daughter of Ruth, who unfortunately got killed in the last book. And kind of focuses on her and like witches and sorcerers and the cabals, which this is your first introduction. Industrial Magic, the one I'm on now, goes way deeper into the cabals than this one does. But this is basically a custody battle on steroids, and that is basically it. So, Paige, now, after her mother died, moved into a, it was somewhere in Boston, like a little quiet town where, like, all the, where, like, her coven is. She is now the leader of the coven since her mom has passed away. And she now has Savannah. Now, this is an issue. Most of the coven people are bitches. Or witches, depending on which word you want to use. Most of the coven people are witches. Just, they're not nice. Like, basically, I'm going to get into it more later on, but Savannah is much different from what she was in Stolen. She has a much, I don't want to say much better personality, but because I don't say it's like the personality, it's always been there, but she's your typical 12, 13-year-old who likes pushing buttons when they shouldn't. I mean, that's all teenagers. They will push buttons until all of a sudden they're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. It's just what Savannah's. She's pushing the buttons. She loves the chaos of it. And there's a few really good moments with that, but I digress. So she's just basically a teenager. And they're worried about her, because now we also learn about her mom. And you kind of learn a little bit about her mom in the last book, but you learn about her mom in this one. Eve Levine, she was a witch, and she learned like dark magic and stuff like that. And she, I think, either left or got kicked out. I'm not sure, but they don't like Savannah because of her mom, and then I think her aunt's there, and Coven just not bad people. But anyway, Paige living her life, trying to raise Savannah, have her be good. All of a sudden, she gets hit with a custody battle from Leah and a man named Christoph Nast. or is it Christopher Nast? It's one of the Nasts. It's from the Nast Cabal, which you will learn about. But, you know, at first Paige is like, I don't know what this is. We're going to talk to a lawyer. And then when she talks to a lawyer and then she starts fighting back, it just gets worse and worse. Like, her lawyer gets killed. She gets accused of it. And then something happens, and then a necromancer rises his dead body from it, because I think he gets, like, shot out of, like a window or something. And she goes through shit in this book. I give her props, because she is, I think, one of the strongest characters in this book, and oh my god, she just goes through so much crap. But, so, yeah, so she lives. She thrives. I don't know how, but she does. And through all the shit that she goes through, she gets kidnapped at one point, her and Savannah, because Christoph Nast, I believe is his name, says, you know, well, it's just, we're done playing games, we're just gonna bring Savannah here. And then he reveals to her that he is her father, and you kind of can tell, because I guess one of Savannah's traits is that she has like these like piercing pretty blue eyes, and Christoph Nast has these pretty blue eyes. And Paige Paige knew about it, but she couldn't really confirm or deny whether that was her dad, but I think she was also scared that Savannah would have gone to him. That was an interesting shoe that I didn't think would actually, I thought the drop was going to be a lot bigger. And then Paige gets kidnapped again, this time by Lucas's brother, who's another character you meet in this book. I actually really like Lucas, he's funny. Excuse me. And then eventually it all culminates to Savannah sees that Paige is gone. She is convinced that her father killed her, and then sets the house and tries to summon her mother's spirit, even though she can't, and which does lead to actually a really nice moment. It's just a giant custody battle that goes to shit. I mean, if you're like, again, custody battles, I hear are messy. This just takes the cake of messy custody battles. Yeah. Another big thing too in this is now that, you know, because initially, like one of the other big things too is that they think that they want Savannah, because it's almost her first period, the first menses, which is like a really big deal. You can do like this ceremony thing, which causes like a witch to gain powers, like greater powers. Ruth did it to Paige. Paige can do it to Savannah. I know Paige and Savannah have an argument at one point, because Savannah wants to do it her mom's way, and then Paige wants to do it her mom's way, but they end up doing it Eve's way, how she was going to do it with Savannah. But yeah, no, this is like a custody battle, like to hell. So that's basically it. They end up doing the menses, and it's all a happy ending, for this book at least. So what I liked about this, I actually really enjoyed Paige being the protagonist. So one of my biggest kind of fears was that I like the show, and I like Elena. And so Bitten was good. I breezed through Bitten. Stolen was, it was good, but it was a bit of a drag. And so Stolen was kind of a challenge, because I wasn't sure if I was going to actually like Stolen. But my biggest thing was, I don't know if I'm going to like Bitten. Dime Store Magic, because I'm like, this isn't Elena narrating the book for me. You know, I'm not, it's like a new kind of unknown territory. And once I got through like maybe like a third of the way through the book, once the action started picking up, and I guess more so once you really met like Lucas, that's when it picked up. That's when it really got good. I love the dynamic between Paige and Lucas. Like, she really goes through the ringer of like, I hate this guy because he's a sorcerer, because it goes into sorcerers and witches just don't like each other, and it goes back to some point in history where the sorcerers kind of threw them under the bus. Oh, the Salem witch trials, I think, is what it was, or the Inquisition. I get confused with what it was, because I think they were both involved, but sorcerers essentially threw witches under the bus at one point, so they don't like sorcerers anymore. And it was just funny seeing her go from like the start of like hating him into eventually falling for him and, you know, like relying on him. I think one of my favorite scenes though in this was Paige goes to like the Coven Council and is like, okay, I need help with Savannah. And the elders, it's like there's like three of them. One of them's like super ditzy. The other one is then the other two are kind of like witchy. But Lucas shows up and says, here's how you all can help Paige through this process. And all the elders like, get rid of him. Find a better lawyer. And it's like, he's the only one that's standing up for me. So it's kind of that moment where she realizes, well, I'm fucked. My coven will help me, and the only one helping me is a sorcerer, technically. But it was really good. I mean, the main characters you really see are Savannah, Lucas, and Paige. Leah is the villain in this. Definitely has more of a... I mean, I guess now that the wool's pulled over her eyes, where she's not this, like, kind and helpful half-demon who was trapped, she's actually kind of mean and, you know, not nice, I guess. That's what my half-asleep brain is conveying. But where she's not as, like, innocent and nice as we thought her to believe, she's very ruthless. Like, the shit she pulls, like I said, with the dead body. Like, she's working with the Nast to get custody of Savannah for them. I mean, Christoph Nast does want his daughter. I think he has like 2 or 3 kids, so this is like his like 3rd or 4th. So he wants his daughter back. You know, it's not like he's doing it to have like a witch in there. He wants his daughter in the family. But they do some messed up things, and Leah's like the spearhead of it, I think, for the most part. Again, raising the dead body from the ground, and killing the lawyer. Like, Savannah and Paige go and talk to the lawyer, and literally, like, 5 minutes later, as they're sneaking around because they're worried about, like, Leah and the Nast lawyer, I can't remember his name. Literally, he gets killed, like, shoved out of the window, like, telepathically, and again, Lucas saves her ass, but, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, it might be crossing a few lines, where I say this is the custody battle from hell. But it was actually really good. I do definitely like Paige's perspective, and I'm, like, almost done with Industrial Magic now, and I'm really excited for Haunted. But I guess we'll talk about, like, characters. I guess we'll start off with Paige. Like I said, Paige is probably, like, one of the strongest characters in this book. Not only is she learning to, like, better understand Savannah and to better to help her, her big thing is she's been trying to master more spells. So, I don't know if it's the right wording, but I'm going to use it anyway, but everything that happened in Stolen, kind of jump-started her to, okay, well, now I need to have more defensive spells. Because I'm going to be put in a situation where I might need to protect my loved ones. So in this case, it would be Savannah. And so she's trying to learn all these spells, and she goes on this, like, really cool arc where she is learning, she's trying to figure out, like, so they have, like, sanction spells for the witches. And again, I'm not going to go too much into it for the sheer fact of it's a lot, and it would just turn into a rambly session. But they have, like, sanction spells. And cause, Paige brings up at one point how she thinks it's stupid that these witches are talking. Like, someone brought up, like, oh, well, someone can use, they have, like, locking spells. And that's how I think most witches lock their doors, because you can't open it up. No matter how strong you are, you can't open it up. So, one witch brought up, oh, well, you know, because they can't use spells that harm people. Like, they can't harm others. So, oh, well, we could do this spell. Like, this spell could be used to harm others in doing this. So, we should really, like, lower the level of the locking spell. And so now she can't use that locking spell. But she goes on this journey where she's trying to learn spells, and it's like, there's these level 4 spells. And she's like, well, how do we do this? How do we do it? And then she comes across like there's like level 1 and level 2 spells. And then there's level 4 spells. It's like, okay, where's the middle part? And then she's talking with Savannah at one point. It's like, oh, well, my mom told me they got rid of the level 3 spells so they couldn't go higher than level 2. And then it clicks, and then she finds these books with like level 3 spells. Because she was able to do one spell, but she had learned the level 3 spell without knowing it. And so she then takes these level 3 spell grimoires, so she can now learn more spells. So it was kind of cool how she's like unlocking magic. She does actually get kicked out of the coven, and so she's like, well, screw this, I'm just gonna make my own coven. Where it's not as restrictive as like the this coven is. And she's just pissed, and then they believe also they sell Savannah out to the Nast Cabal. So she's just very fed up with this thing, and her house gets blown up, so she has no reason to go back to Boston, where she is. But she goes through hell. She's definitely one of the strongest ones, but I definitely did like the arc of how she was like learning these spells, and I thought it was kind of interesting to kind of learn that bit of lore with the witches. So I guess next we'll just talk about Savannah. Savannah, like I said earlier, she has a personality, very funny. She has some really funny moments and some actually very like heartwarming moments too in this, but like I mentioned earlier, the whole scene where Lucas basically is telling his witches what to do, she is just lapping it up. She's just sitting there like, yep, eat that, you guys suck. But, you know, in Stolen, she was this very scared, confused teenager, and now she's kind of, like, back in, I would say, her own element to a degree. I mean, she's still dealing with the loss of her mother, and then now she has Paige, who is, like, her mother figure now, and I use that loosely. But, you know, they have their bits. They go back and forth. Like, they're still trying to understand each other, because I believe this takes place, I think, like, a little under a year later from Stolen, and maybe half a year after Stolen, so they're still getting to know each other. So they have their moments, but they still fight. And at one point, she's just so fed up with Paige, and during the course of all this custody bullshit, there are like people on their front lawn, because like I think Leah has like sets up like things where like they're burying like cats and doing stank rituals in the backyard. Someone gets like a hand. She has a nosy neighbor. So like basically she has like all this news coverage. So Savannah's pissed, and then this is also when her period comes into play, because now she's doing things more irrationally. And at one point she's like, I hate you. The custody worker is there, and then all of a sudden she realizes she's on her period, and she's like, oh my god, I'm on my period. This is the best day ever. Who are you people? Look at the the child services. That's what it is. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. But I think one of the biggest things was English. One of the biggest things that I was intrigued how it was gonna go was later on in the book. They get kidnapped by the Nasts, and this is when, you know, like in those movies, and it's because I'm conditioned by movies, but in those movies where it's like, hey, guess what? Here's a secret. You see it in Hallmark movies all the time. Here's a secret. I didn't tell you. Now you're finding it from somebody else. And then now you're pissed at me because I didn't tell you this beforehand when I easily could have. That kind of happens with this. I mean, it kind of does. But Nast basically says to Savannah, hey, I'm your dad. And Paige didn't tell her, and I'm like, I honestly thought that Savannah was going to be a lot more pissed than she was, and I'm like, interesting that you're not, like, pissed. And then they talk about it at one point, and Savannah's like, well, I want Paige to stay. I'll stay here at the Cabal, but Paige has to stay with me. And then they talk, and it's like, oh, well, I mean, I understand your perspective. You didn't know how I'd react, and you didn't know the full story, this, and this, and I'm like, that shoe did not drop as loud as I thought it was going to drop. And I'm like, okay, that's a thing. I like really thought that the shoe was gonna drop a lot worse than it actually did. But she has her moments, and you can tell she does deeply care for Paige. Like, at one point, like I said, she thinks Paige is dead, so she's summoning her mother, and the only way to stop Savannah is to make her think that her mother is there. So Lucas casts this spell to make her look like Eve Levine, and Paige goes, talks to her, and basically it's kind of like Savannah gets like a final goodbye to her mom, and it was a very sweet moment because, you know, she was kidnapped, her mom was kidnapped, but then from Savannah's perspective, her mom disappeared, she doesn't know what happened to her, and then it's called a day, and they don't really talk about that, like the people in Stolen to Savannah, they probably said, oh, well, your mom just went away, and didn't say shit. So it was like a nice, very good scene for, I think, Savannah to talk to her mom, well, even though it's Paige, but say goodbye to her mom, and then comfort her and soothe her, and so she can kind of get that, the being able to say goodbye to her, and that was a very sweet scene. Then they end up getting her first menses on the 8th and final day of it, because it's always the 8th and final day. But Savannah's definitely a character. I definitely really do love her character, though. She's funny. And then the other main character I'm going to talk about is Lucas. And Lucas, I actually really do like. I mean, he's like that very, like, just nerdy type. I guess the way I imagined him was, like, I don't know, like, the way those, like, TikTok stars, like, always, like, dress up as, like, the stereotypical nerds. Like, with the glasses, tall. And he describes as tall and lanky, I believe. But that's just how I see him. And he's, like, when you first meet him, he's like, his eyes are down, and he's not looking at Paige directly. And I'm like, that's weird. And then all of a sudden, he looks up, and I'm like, oh, okay, he's a sorcerer. Never mind. I see why now. He's definitely very patient. Definitely reminds me of my boyfriend, because I can be very trying sometimes. But he's very patient with Paige, very much, there for her. And then what I did find funny was that at one point he Adam from the second book, so I don't know if I talked about my last review, but he's this half demon, good friends with Paige. Like, there's nothing romantic between them. It's like Penelope and Derek Morgan from Criminal Minds, just less flirty banter. And he calls one day, they talk, and then I believe Lucas says to Savannah, are those two dating? And then Savannah tries telling this to Paige, but Paige isn't getting it, and Savannah's like, oh my god. And it was just funny. But he's definitely, like, very smart, very, like, just very smart, like, very, like, calm, and it's just very funny. Like, he was just a very funny character, and I do like his character, like, a lot in Industrial Magic, because I think right now he's trying to tell Paige he wants to, like, go in the next step, like, become boyfriend girlfriend, because I think at the end of this book they become kind of like, stay as long as you want, but there's no expectation of you to stay. And I think, like, he wants it to be more than what they are now. He's just trying to word it. That's just what I get from Industrial Magic right now, but we'll see. But I think those are the 3 characters we're really talking about. Leah does die in this book. She, I believe, gets killed by, it's either Savannah or it's Paige and Lucas, or a combination of all 3. Excuse me. Because at one point she's like, hey, if we take Savannah now, we can just raise her, and then I'll get her on weekends or whatever, because she's still obsessed with this idea of trying to make, like, this, like, group of, like, demons, sorcerers, and stuff like that. Like, I guess technically a cabal. Just not a cabal. I do think they said conclave, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, she gets killed. Kristoff Nass gets killed. He is trying to calm down Savannah, to be fair, when he does get killed. So he was trying to be a good dad. Just it was not working. And like, she's doing this spell, and I'm pretty sure making, like, the house come to life. And it's just like, it's like Monster House, but the house is, like, coming to life or something like that. But, you know, those guys die, and then I'll talk about more with Industrial Magic, but uh, Paige has a run-in with Thomas Nast, who is Kristoff's dad, so Savannah's granddad, and that doesn't really go well. But I guess my overall thoughts was it was actually a really good book. There were a lot of funny moments. I know there's a lot of stuff I didn't like go into. I mean, I think I covered the basic stuff, but I definitely enjoyed the book. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. But then again, I really had no expectation of it because I really wasn't sure what to expect of it. Because again, I was really scared that I wasn't going to like it because it wasn't Elena's perspective, but I ended up really enjoying it. And so, I'm almost done with Industrial Magic. It was funny, I realized, oh, I'm only like halfway through the book. Now I'm under 200 pages left in the book, so it's definitely very interesting. Industrial Magic, like I said, goes way more into the Cabals than this book does. But this is more custody battle. Now it's kind of like learning more about... Or, no, better phrasing. This deals with more witches. Like witch magic, witches, stuff like that. Cabals deals with more sorcerer stuff and how they operate. But overall, it was a really good book. I don't think I really have any complaints with this one. Again, still shocked and surprised that the big shoe when Savannah found out who her dad was. I'm shocked it wasn't as big as as I was expecting it to be. On one hand, I'm kind of glad of it though, because it does show that though Savannah and Paige have their differences, she does trust Paige enough that if she didn't share it, it's because, I mean, not that I don't know if it was the exact reason, but in Savannah's mind, she wasn't sure, just didn't want to, or wasn't worth bringing up until she knew like the entire facts about it. So I definitely did enjoy that. That the shoe didn't, that the drop wasn't as big, but it still was surprising. But yes, overall, very good book. Hell of a lot better than Stolen. Again, not that it wasn't bad, just very, very slow. And this was slow for the first part, but once you kind of start getting into like the mischief of it all, it picks up. At least it's just my head. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think if you've read this book. It's definitely a good one. I'm very excited to read Haunted though, like I said earlier, just because I'm curious. Because it's like they have like time travel elements, so I'm very curious to see how that's gonna play out into the book. Excuse me. But yeah. So, like, subscribe, follow. I was streaming earlier, so I'm still have Twitch on the brain, but yeah, if you guys like what you see, hit follow. I'm gonna be doing more book reviews. You're gonna have to wait on Industrial Magic because I'm still finishing it. And yeah, I will probably start doing maybe like manga reviews because honestly, I don't actually mind doing manga. I don't mind doing these like reviews of like talking because I don't know. You guys can comment what you guys think of these books, and I think it's pretty cool. Anywho, have a fantastic night, guys. My bed is calling to me at this current moment, and I will see you all later. And sleep well, guys. Have a fantastic night.